Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Good day to you all. What's happening? What's up, what's up, what's up? Let me see my voice. Is it on the stream or not? Wait. What's happening? Oh yeah, is in it's already on the streams. So today we're gonna as I promised, I think 2 days ago, as I promised, the next stream will be I will be explaining my house with City Pop remix. So let's get started. I'm gonna play the instrumental first, and then let's go. And after that, let's go through every of these sections till the end, and then I'm gonna explain what the mixing that I'm gonna use in this project. And yeah, let's do it. So yeah, that's the whole instrumental right there. Yo man, your Peekaboo remix is legendary, man. Yeah, thanks man. Thanks for playing Peekaboo, man. That remix. So that was my favorite. One of my favorite remix. My favorite remixes. Actually, yeah. So, the first one, I think I'm gonna explain the as usual. I'm gonna explain from the front, and then we go all the way to the back. So the first, this is my first song. Yes, man. Even though I released this song, I think back in 2024. Yeah, I think I spent almost 28 hours while making this project. So, the first one, I think the obvious one, the chords. So I'm using software called TSK Roads. It's a free plugin from TSK, and that's the plugin. And then the second one, I think I use Vital. I think this is the scene. Yeah, the scene. I often like usually most of my remixes use these plugins, and that's the usual like style of my chords, you know. And then the melody. I'm using VPS Avengers. Yeah, I actually like wrote this melody using my MIDI pad, so I'm gonna like show it to you. Like for example, this one. I'm pressing the buttons. So the question, what app is this? This is DHW like digital audio workstation called FL Studio. Yeah, this is like a digital audio workstation is basically like a software to make music. Like there's like a bunch of like DAW other than FL Studio like Logic Pro Tools and then GarageBand and then Cubase, Studio One, Ableton, and then Reaper. There's so much stuff like so many DHW out there. So then the melody sounds like this. I'm pressing the buttons on my like MIDI pad right now. Actually, when wrote this melody, also listening to the chords, just trying to find like the vibes. So it's kind of like the workflow is kind of like this, I think. Yeah, like Logic or Ableton, yes. Those are the THW. Oh, I forgot. Wait, I forgot. I'm not progress, but I think yeah. When I'm writing this melody, I usually like finding like the perfect vibe for the melody. Right, I'm gonna turn on the metronome. That's how it is when I'm writing the write the melody. Like I'm using Akai MPD 2118. It's a good, like it's a good MIDI pad. And then I'm not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by Akai, but I'm using Akai. So that's how I wrote this melody. And and then yeah, the melody is kind of quite simple on the intro. How do you decide to remix a song? Big question. How do I decide like this a song that needs a remix? The first thing that I am always gonna like talk about it is like it's the first thing is I must like uh like the songs first. Like if I'm not liking the songs, I get like I don't get the vibes of the song. So I don't have the like the vision about the songs. What am I gonna do with it? Like you know what I mean? Because I don't like the song in the first place. So I have to like like the song is has to be good, like the original. It has to be good. So and then the second one, I think if I decide to make a remix, does the song has some like some potential or not? For example, if the song has kind of like, for example, like the new one, like my heart to hearts lemon thing. Yeah, where were they, right? Heart to hearts lemon thing. When I listen to heart to hearts lemon thing, I always thought that wait, this actually like there's so much possibility when I'm like on this track. Yeah. What direction do you want? Yeah. When I listen to Heart to Heart Mountain, even though the original like sounds very upbeat, like very tropical ish, and then some like more like electronic, I always try to like think think around it, like I think the vocals need to be like this, and then this part of vocals needs some drums or so yeah. So those kind of this kind of like elements when I'm listening to, and I always consider that are these songs have that specific element that I can create for it. Yeah, you should listen to my Hard Sales Clementine. Those are good. I spent almost like 2 weeks writing remixing in those remixing that song. That was that I don't know. Honestly, the Hard South Lemon thing it's very hard to remix, to be honest. But it turns out pretty good. A lot of people like pretty like the favorite part was like the pre-chorus part because the I like some of the my the comments said that my version like elevate the pre-chorus, like the calling you baby. The- Some of the people like my my version more because I'm elevating the vibe, the atmosphere. So yeah, because the people was inspired, but unexpected. Yeah, I never have imagined it's a 74. I like to be better than original. Yeah, I think when I wrote like Peekaboo back in 2022, I think that was just me messing around just to find the sound of the city pop. That's why I think it's just like I really like Rafael Peekaboo, but that was the time that when I was trying to like discover, try to learn how to make a city pop. So that's why it's kind of like unusual and but yeah, unexpected. But it turns out to be good. It turns out pretty good. That was my one of my favorites. So let's go. Let's back on this project. So on this intro, I think there's a couple of instrument like and drums, but I so in this project I keep it more simple. Yeah. So I keep it more simple, and then the specific project it was I think the back then I was inspired by I was listening to a sort of pop song called it's called uh Easy Love. I think it's by Yuri Kokobu. I think wait, let me search the name. Easy Love. Yeah. Easy Love by Yuri Kokubu. I think that was inspired me doing this remix. Yeah. The patching in Apple is very like it's really like interesting part. So and this drum it's because it's like for it's not it's unusual from my like unusual usual remix that I made on the city pop. It's kind of like it has simple a drum pattern and rhythm and then a hi hat pattern. So the snare is not that like the usual snare that I use. It's just like it's just like a simple snare that I'm not layering the snare with anything. It's just one snare, and then the kick I'm using like a cashmere acoustic kick. I don't know. This project I want to be more like more undertone and like more like more low key vibes. They have a music we understand always so lazy and relaxed. Even their bangers. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I agree that niches were just so ahead of everyone. Yeah, I 100% agree. And then I think I wrote the hi hat manually. That's why so it had some kind of like a miss. It's not on the tempo. Sometimes it missed a little bit, like a point half milliseconds, and sometimes it plays forward. I think I wrote this like using this one actually, using the MIDI pad. Uh, yeah, I think using the MIDI pad. I don't know. I just touch the MIDI pad, but it doesn't play anything. But I'm really writing this, like the hi hat using my MIDI pad. Sometimes I'm just usually I use just like this, like 1, 2, and 3. or yada 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 yada, and then but I think this project I was just to like maybe I can do with something with it my MIDI pad, or like I have some inspiration doing like writing with the MIDI pad. So it kind of like it does have the like some realism to it, and also I use a open hi hat. And I wrote some like simple fill, and then after that I add some like a cowbell. This one you could like you always hear it in like mostly like 50% of city pop music. They all use like the cowbell for the percussion. So it's kind of like where do you get the music part? Do you stem the first? Yes, I stem the I strike the vocals by myself. And then I add some I think this snare. Oh yeah. This I add once one layer of the snare. It's just like to add the low frequency of the snares. But it doesn't like overpowering the main snare, so that's why it just like complete the frequency of the snares. Yeah, it's called cowbell. And then I use the like I don't know, it's a hi hat, but I always use this like when I wrote a hi hat, I always try to add some like a hi hat loop just to like like to layer down with the main hi hats. I don't know, it's just unusual way to make my hi hats more lively. And then I'm using like a FPSS percussion loops. This is the sample pack that I use on the Perfect Night. The Perfect Night is using the same samples, but it's different parts of the sample. But using the same sample pack. So yeah, that's pretty simple. This project is got like a pretty simple drum percussion, and then for the instruments, I'm still using the same plugin, the SK. The same perfect name interests me to remember C, and then I got everything else, and then everything. Yeah. I'm glad to like like introduce you to a whole different genre of music. I'm I'm happy to that. I'm happy to hear that. So the next instrument I think I'm using I don't know what it's called. It's called PPS Emerger, but I think it's the expels. But I took the low, like, took the low octave. I think I could put the more higher octave. So, but the instrument needs some lows or mid frequency on the instrument, so I put it on the fifth octave, and then this is the same one with the pattern. This one, I think, yes. and then I use some Retromania, like retro synths, just to get that, you know, like VHS type synths that usually on the synth wave, and then it's a guitar. I'm using the real Strat. And yeah, that's the instruments basically. That's all the instruments. And then I'm use the bass lines kind of like more like this. The bass line is actually follows the rhythm of the pattern of the drums. But for the bass line, I think I've never like wrote the bass line like naturally. I always put the read the bass line always on the notes because I don't have like, maybe I didn't on the bass line I don't like the bass kind of like more off timing. I always tend to like the bass line needs to be more like precise timing. It's okay to be like off timing a little bit, but I think when you put the bass line kind of off timing, it will like mess up the grooves. It's just my personal opinion. But I think it depends on your choice. But on my personal choice, I think, but for the baseline, the baseline needs to be precise on the tempo. But it's okay to be slightly off tempo, off timing, just to create the natural feels. But don't overuse it. I I think, yeah, don't overuse it. So yeah, that's the. I think I'm using like a funk bass. Yeah, this one. The funk bass is for the sub bass frequencies, and then the main bassist was this good 80s pick by Flex. The Flex was is a plugin from Alpha Studio itself. It's a really good plugin. I always use the Flex. It sounds more, yeah, it's a little offbeat, just like what I'm using, what I do on the hi-hats. But when you do like the hi-hats kind of like, it's just slightly, you know, like when the hi-hats slightly offbeat, it's kind of like you don't notice it right away, like. But the bass line, when you do offbeat, but the offbeat way too often, this kind of like will be the makes make the groove sounds weird, right? But yeah, you could do it like this, for example, like maybe you could actually do this and then just put slower on the A, and then wait, I'm gonna turn off the swap. But yeah, so it's kind of like this, like. Alright, I picked the wrong this one. So it's okay. It's still nice, but when you do something like this, for example, like way too much, this one, and then maybe like just to create the like a more natural way. So yeah, it's kind of like it makes the groove sounds a little bit off when you do like too much. I think. So that's why maybe like just a little bit offbeat, not so much, not half like this, but it's just like a slow little bit, and then this one, it's okay. So just don't put it so much. That will make the groove sounds odd. So yeah, that's the baseline, and then let's moving on about samples did I use on this one. I think it's just this one. It just yeah, it's on. I took the sample from the FL Cloud, and then just put it right here, and then pitch it up to like plus 70 cents per 1700 strands, just to match with the project key. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the intro. Let's move on to the verse. So on the verse, kind of like like the basic from the fills to the first. I think the it's pretty basic stuff, like very basic, like 8 pop songs. Wasn't from the actuals. What is? Oh, I think it's just like the focus. I think it's just only the focus. Everything else, I think it's my personal choice, personal taste from the offer outside the original. So yeah, on the verse, it's very slightly different. I think yeah, it's a different. I think it's the same drum pattern, but I think I make slightly off, slightly change some slight changes, like this for example. When you compare this, the beat sounds like dun da dun da dun dun da dun da. It's kind of like different, and then meanwhile the intro sounds like yeah, it's just the focus. So the intro and the first kind of like this, it has a different, like a slightly different pattern. This is the intro drums, and then this is the first drum. So it's just to differentiate between the first and the intro. Also, the heads is kind of like different. It doesn't have like some some crowdy hi hats, but I think the so this one the hi hat I also write the with the manually write manually. That's why it has so many like offbeat. So it's kind of playing late, and then it's played early, and then it's kind of like so. So yeah, this one. And then, but I always want to learn more about it. Yeah, so many of them. Just maybe they could try, like opening, the trying to just find some. For me, my advice probably just try to make something. Maybe you could download some MIDIs on the internet. Like maybe you try to like there's so many MIDIs, like public, like free MIDIs on the internet. You could download, like you can find me maybe like Maria Takuchi Plastic Love MIDI, and then you put it on, and then try to load it up on your double DAW, and then your DAW, and then just start messing around with the MIDIs. Always comes like the always comes like with the drums, bass line, chords, and etc. etc. So you could like try to learn. So this how like they basically made the scenes or something like that. You could try mess around with the like MIDI on the internet. but I think when we don't have uh experience to remix, to like making from scratch is uh basically like you need to that's the hard the usual way to learn a remix. You should usually like making from scratch, but I think for my advice that I will use to just like maybe some midis on the internet, just try to learn it from the midis. Also, this how they make the structure. So this how they made the pre-chorus or the chorus, something like that. What do you would you recommend? I think it depends on your choice though, but the and also your device. If you have some like from Apple, you should use like a GarageBand or maybe Logic or Pro Tools. So, so let's move on. I think I'm using the same snare. And then I'm using like the same hi-hats loops. So when I'm combining my own hi-hats and the sample hi-hat that I use, I think I made the hi-hats more like more secondary hi-hats. So it's kind of like this one sounds like shakers for me. Yeah, you could use some like Ableton. You could use Ableton, or maybe you could use some like Pro Tools, and maybe. So yeah, that's only the drums. That's pretty like simple. Not so many offbeat on the hi hats, but and then for the instrument is I think I'm using the same. Oh no, I think I'm using different instruments from the intro. From the first, I'm using like a piano, like a grand piano sounds. So yeah, that's the basically the when I wrote this course, that's basically the course. And then when I wrote this course, I always listen to the vocals, because when I listen to vocals, I get some like inspiration on the chords. Like for example, all I know is that the initial chord was like this. All I know is that and there is that I know that always up and down, just like that. It's just simple as that. But I like think about something. What if like all I know is that and I know, just like a chop, like like a staggered, like like changing the vibes to be more like a funky. That's why I'm using like I changing like the progressions. Also I also the focus, the way the focus sounds. So for example, this one. All I know is now I get. So I take the change from the progression with these vocals. All I know is now I get this and that. So like, all I know is now I get. The chorus always hits on these parts, like I guess. So this one to get that like some corresponding with the vocals. So it's kind of like supporting the vocals. But I don't use it on the second half of the chords.
Finger closing gags, spinning round and round, changing my mind.
So yeah, that's some changes that I made on the mic chords. And then second one, I'm using the instruments called, yeah, this is a DX7. I think that's a heron. That's a heron. That's
All I know is now I get the sun. Always up and down. Closing gags, spinning round and round, changing my mind.
I think that's a heron. And then the third one I'm using, it's the same while using Retromania. I just layered 3 instruments into one. And then for the guitar, I think I'm using like samples, but I chop it up. The initial sample sounds like this. But I don't like how the guitar sounds on the samples. So I try to chop it up to match with my like my style. So it's kind of like this. So it's kind of like different. Yeah, I think just I think it just depends how like the songs. Sometimes they put similar, sometimes they don't. So yeah, that's the first. Oh yeah, I forgot about something. I also changing the how the focus sounds. So for example, this one, the original sounds like this. I don't like how like it's not matching with the like with my chords or with my project. So I try to like change it up a bit with my like quote unquote production skill, music production skill. Now I'm just using like software called plugin called where's my Newton. Oh, so this one I'm using Newton, for example, this one. I think I'm using so this one like just, just changing the the notes manually.
Always up and down. Singer closing gags, spinning round and round, changing my mind.
Yeah, just mess around with the with this one, and then so yeah, so this is how I end up with the melodies.
Singer closing gags, spinning round and round, changing my mind. Singer closing gags, singer closing gags, spinning round and round, changing my mind.
I remember that on the comments on the video of my wait for a second, I'm bugging. I remember that I think it's one of my comments says that did I get the official stem from them? I don't, because there's because of the sounds were very different with the melody. But no, I'm just using my like my skills just to like edit this out to match with my style. So yeah, I'm not getting the official stamps from them.
Singer closing gags, spinning round and round, changing my mind.
So yeah, and then I use some like I create some like a fill, but using strings. I think I remember it is inspired from what I think. I think it's inspired from city pop song also, but I don't remember what it is. You mean the same? No, I mean like I extract the vocals from the original song and then I remade, you know, like just to experiment with the vocals that I extract, and then it's just from there.
세상 더 그렇지 이런 헛소리
So on the second half, the first, I think the bass line kind of slightly the same. Yeah, I think it's like it is the same, but only the difference is only the way or the last of the progression, and then the drums. I think it's the same, but the difference I removed the last part because this is a junction between the first and the pre-chorus, so I removed the hi-hats. And then I think the chords still the same. Yeah, it's the same chords, the same progressions. I think the differences was this one. I had some tambourines and some different guitar. So I also try to like edit the like the samples to match with my own style. So the initial sample sounds like this.
더 그렇지
So yeah, I remove the the specific parts. I don't like it, and then I just try to remove it, and then just, you know, like matching with the project. So it's the sample sounds like this. So yeah, it's just like some kind of like this is the like answer and calling type of melody. So this is the call melody, and this is the answer melody. So yeah, that's the guitar part of this part.
더 그렇지 이런
So yeah, that's the second part of the verse. It's just I'm just adding some like some simple string fills. Oh, this one actually sounds like this. You could actually use this, but I decided to add more, you know, chords. So this I add some like some interesting fills. It's corresponding with the complement or same style with the chords. So yeah, that's a simple. That's how I made my string fills in this project.
And don't you know how sweet it tastes
The pre-chorus or you could say the build-up in the electronic sense, we call it build-up. So the build-up's kind of like, you know, so it's kind of like some different progressions with the chords, but I want to make the chords on the build up sounds more like hanging, not flowing, and then it goes to the next chord. That's why I left some like stagger chords in these specific parts, like this one. Or you could add this more stagger sound. So I always try to like add some chords that always left hanging, because I want you so it's just to build the tensions on the build up of the pre-chorus. So yeah, and then I'm using like a transition, like I think tambourine, yeah, and then some. You could barely hear these sounds in there. It's just like a simple rose loops. So yeah.
And don't you know how sweet it tastes? Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes?
So on the chorus, I think it sounds very slightly different with the intro, but I enhance more in the instruments and the drums. Like on the chorus, I add more like some basic, you know, city pop strings, or you could say this one. I'm using like a sound pane. This one. Saxophone and some reflex nexus. Press. Yeah, this the nexus, the press. And then this is a fiasco trumpet. So yeah, I'm adding this type of instrument in there. So yeah, that's the instrument, and then I add some like I think the drums the drums pattern. Yeah, it's the same pattern. I'm using pattern 4 and this pattern 4, and then the drums gonna pretty much the same, but and then the toms still the same. But yeah, the different I add some like oh yeah, the retro wave toms. I add some retro wave toms. So yeah, and then I think that's all the drums. Is it? It's all pretty simple drums and percussion in this project. Not so heavy and not so light, but it's on the middle. And then I add some grand piano in there, and then some. I think it's a DX one. It's the Vital. It's some Retromania. It's a guitar, and then the half, the last half on the first chorus. I add strings. Yeah, that's the strings part, and then yeah, that's all the. I think that's all the. I forgot some melody. So this melody is a main, like it's a main melody of this project. So I always add on everything, like the key part of the project. So the key part of the project, like for example, like the intro, the chorus, and the outro. So I always add the key part. I always add my melody. Okay, let's try this one. I had to run it, so okay, we'll play attention back. Yeah, thanks for hanging out in this, man. It's true, man. Take care and have a good day, man. So I think that's basically all the everything, but the differences it is the vocals.
Yeah, don't you know, sweet, yeah, don't you know,
This is the original sounds, the original melody.
yeah, don't you know, sweet it tastes.
It doesn't fit with my chord progression.
Yeah, don't you know, sweet it tastes. Now that I'm without you.
That's why I change I change the how the vocals work.
Yeah, don't you know, sweet it tastes. Now that I'm without you.
Using my quote unquote magic.
Yeah, don't you know, sweet it tastes.
Also add some background vocals. Where's my this one? I think this Daniel sounds, the Daniel voice. I think so, yeah. Also, I also changed the background vocals sounds. Otherwise, it doesn't match with my chords.
Without you.
So yeah, I think that's the chorus.
Now that I'm without you. 나 더는 묻지 않을래. Taste.
So yeah, that's the chorus, and then let's moving on to the second part of the songs, and then this one. It's just copy and paste from my previous verse. It's just I could just copy and paste it. I think there's no slightly changes on the first. Oh yeah, I just on the second verse I'm removing the guitar. To change I change it to like this I don't know how it's called. I think this strum guitar. Yeah, I'm changing to this specific guitar sounds.
완전 신군시야.
So yeah, I think the differences was this one. This is the different. There's no changes in there's no change in the chord progressions. Like everything still sounds the same with the verse. I just copy and paste it. And then the vocals,
어제
I may slightly change on the melody of the vocals, especially the I think the honey part.
부르고서
Oh no, it's the Minji part first. It is the original sounds like.
부르고서 나의 이름을 더는 안 봐 drama 부르고서 나의 이름을
It doesn't fit with my chords.
부르고서 나의 이름을 더
It somehow it could work, but I don't like the melody sounds. So I change it the melody to fit my with my chord progressions.
부르고서 나의 이름을
yeah, and then the second part, I think it was honey. Because the original sounds like this, for example. It could work though, but I don't like it. And then I just changed it, the melody.
It's like biting an apple. An apple.
Why change it? Why this ended up first? I think. Oh yeah, because.
And don't you know how sweet it
So yeah, that's the reason why I add some MIDI vocals in here, because I want to stress the vocal structures. For example, this one,
you know better. Go get some Jamaica Island, Nora.
because I want to add this also, same with the this one,
You know better. Go get some Jamaica.
just to stretch with the vocals, just to make it longer. So yeah, just to make it longer. So yeah, and there's a big changes on the pre-chorus part of this specific sections. I add strings, I add kicks. Yeah, I add kick, and then I add some toms. And add more chops on the chords.
And don't you know how sweet it tastes?
So yeah, it you know, like, it creates more like more high tension kind of like feel to it, because I add the strings, I add more percussion in there, like this one, a hi-hat and the hi-hats and some toms, and then so yeah, this I like these specific sounds. Love your star, bro. Thanks, man. Thanks, Azir Putra Wicaksana. Thanks, man. So I'm using like some arpeggio preset on the flex of the flex, this one. I think you could barely hear it on the mix though. Oh no, you could hear it.
And don't you know how sweet it tastes? Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes?
So yeah, that's the pre-chorus part. The tensions it's kind of different with the previous one, so it's kind of like a different, more high tensions. I guess that's what I aiming for. And then let's moving on to the chorus.
Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes? Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes? Now that I'm without you, 나도 묻지 않을래.
So on the second chorus, there's no I guess so whatsoever of the changes, like in the terms of like chord progressions, like percussion and stuff. It's a very subtle sound, but yes, it's very subtle sounds.
Yeah, don't you know how sweet tastes?
So yeah, it doesn't have like some drastic changes between the second and also the first, but there's some slightly change on the last, like the last bar, the last second bar, this one. I extend the I'm extending the what it's called, like the trumpet parts. Like for example, on the first chorus, like the string and the trumpet sounds like this, like and then it ends. But the second the second chorus, there's a follow up melody in there. That's the difference. And also on the drums, I think I'll extend the drums till the end of the bar, not like cutting like this bar. And then and some slight changes on the snares. So yeah, the difference is just the last part of the chorus, because it it will go through the bridge part. That's why it needs to like a junction, or you could say like a junction, or like a fill to make the junctions, to make the bridge more natural. So that's why it had some like a to fill, and just to make it more easier, and some smooth or smooth sounds or smooth transitions, for example. That's why I add some like a spark magic chimes from Kashmir, and then some symbol transitions, just to make it more smoother. Otherwise, it will get more. Otherwise, it get more drastic and more sharp, or you could say more staggered sounds. It doesn't have a smooth, like smooth sailing sounds. So yeah, there's a lack of like a smoothness in here. So that's why I add some magic chimes, or like some very like sparkly sounds, and some symbol transitions, symbol or symbols. I think symbols. So yeah, these specific parts is like is a different, is a different like, progression of the bridge, just like the usual my remixes. The bridge, and the bridge was I think every remixes, almost like a 90%, the bridges chords or the breakdown chords always different with the rest of the progressions. So it's kind of like like some anomaly, because there's a different chord progression the in the in the structure. So I'm just using two instruments in there. It sounds like depressing, or you could say like not depressing, but it's kind of like emotional chords in there, like some sad chords. So yeah, the last two part was is just to make the chords more happy, because this the one until the sixth bar was like a emotional chords, and then I add the recovery chords. That's why it sounds more like happy chords. So yeah, that's the progression on the bridge. And I found some nice loops in FL Cloud. It's called L1 stars. This one. the initial sample key was an A minor, and then I pitched it up to B minor. And then I, I cut cut the half of the samples just and then leave it the first half, because the second half it doesn't fit with my progression. This one, like for example, so that's why I cut it the samples just to link with the first half.
are different. So I must. And don't you know how sweet it is?
So yeah, and this the build up of the last pre-chorus. I'm using like a method like a rewind, like a clock rewinding method. I think back then I'm using like a deep blue baby stop, and then I would try to like rewind it, and then try to like just to match with the samples. It's some old EDM technique that I learned in I think 10 years ago. I think it was the same technique that Martin Garrix used, using deep blue. There is a plugin called Deep Blue Baby Stop, I guess, I think, and then you automate it, you render it, and then you put it on the a file again, and then reverse it. I think that's the method here.
Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes?
So at this specific part, I want to make the vibe more groovy. That's why I add the clock ticking, because it makes the groove more better with the hi-hats.
Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes?
So yeah, that's the last pre-chorus. I add the clock ticking part, and also the bass line, kind of like like more basic bass line sounds.
Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes?
If you work always, my game, keep it up. Yo, thanks, man. Thanks for the support. So this is the last chorus. The last chorus was, I think, just the differences was, oh yeah, this one. I played the strings part, the string, or the orchestra part. I put it on the beginning of the chorus, so the chorus feels more grand, or more like a majestic sounds. So that's why the last chorus need to be more like more the tension is more high. That's why I add the strings in front of the chorus, or the start of the chorus. So yeah, that's basically all the chorus, and then it will goes fade out till the end. I always use this kind of like like chords. Like I like these like these type of chords because it will goes down, the sounds will goes down, and then suddenly it will goes back up to the next chords. So you could actually you could change the chord sounds like more of this. So this one, yeah. So yeah, you could say it's like something like that because I like like the downward chords. I don't know what it's called, but I think I like the downward chord that like the chords will always go down. Ding, 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 ding. You always have really close in the song. Yeah. Oh, yeah, really good. Good. Yeah, thank you, man. Because I always put myself like or myself like if I'm the audience or the listener, not just like by my ego, like the music producer ego. Just like this is how the chord sounds like, and then but what if the listener don't like it? Like you know you know what I mean, right? I have to put myself like to be listener. Like I have to make it my. Oh, if I listen to this, like to my music, I like it. Like I have to put myself in the listener's shoes or the the majority of the public shoes. You know, like I cannot rely on my producer sense. Maybe in the producer sense, maybe the car sounds good, maybe, but sometimes maybe in the audience, it doesn't sounds good. So yeah, I always put myself. What if I'm also listening to this music? Do I like it or do I not like it? I think that's the most important part. That's why I rarely, like make some unusual chords, like some art chords. I always try to make some like the chords will feel more like enjoyable. The key is I think the major key is I think the chords or the sounds should be enjoyable, not confusing. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. The chords or the sounds should be enjoyable. Like we listen to me like to music to enjoy the music, right? Not to confused by the sounds, right? So yeah, that thing that's where my work my workflow. I always think that the songs need to be more enjoyable, not confusing, not to create a confusion or rage because we don't the sounds a little bit weird. So yeah, something like that. So yeah, I think that's everything of this project. I'm usually like from the mastering and mixing, but the mixing I think I'm put it on the same project, but the mastering always I usually like export all of this and then make a new project called like maybe house with mastering, and then I put the master in there, so that's why it doesn't have like a fade out in the end because I think this specific project I master on the different like a file project. So, but the mixing like from the for the instrument is still using on this project. It's still on this project. So let's talk about the mixing. So I'm just the pre-master. I'm using OTC, the Glue Online, Fruity Balance, Edison Newton, limiter, and then like the the kick. I'm just put the kick. I always put my kick in mono, and then so I'm just boosting the like low end of the kick, and then put like some. I'm tucking down the high frequency of the kick. Like for example, this sounds like. What if I put down like turn off the EQ? Like the kick sounds way too bright for me, and then I just put it down the high frequencies, so it doesn't have, the kick doesn't have like some bright like crispy sound. I don't like it. And then is the hi hat. The hi hat I dug the hi hat, the high end. I don't like the security of the hi hat sounds. I want to be more like smooth hi hat, the open hi hat. That's why I tuck down the little bit the high frequencies. And then the second one I think is the hi hat. So yeah, this one I also cut the high frequency and just cut the low frequencies. And for the snares, I think I'm just like lower down, just cutting down the low end, the low cut, and then the just put just slightly tone down the low mid, the mid, and then the like high mid, for example. Just put it on some reverb in there. And some reverb on the percussions. Wait, I think I'm not using like any special. Like just for the for the vocals. I just put the LTC on the vocals. Some EQing, another EQ, another EQ, another EQ, another EQ. Like reverb. This is guitar part. I'm using guitar with 7. Where does it open? Oh, this one. I'm just using like a joyful chorus presets, and then I just slightly change a bit of the knob. So yeah, I put it on the left signal because I want to make the guitar more like a left. I want to make like a pan left guitar. That's why I put it on the left. And some some reverb on the snares, some EQing again, then some compressing. This one, and some bass, just like some cut the sub specific on the bass because I already add some sub bass, so I cut the sub frequencies of the bass because I already have the sub bass. And some compressing. Oh yeah, it's some stereo shaping of the chords, in like vintage chorus, some equalizer, some reverb, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, I think there's not for the mixing. It's just like sound equalizer, a chorus wider, reverb, because I don't want. So here's the thing. I don't want to mean like want to spend my time like on production rather on mixing, like mixing the instrument. I rather spend my time more on the production rather on the mixing phase, because I just did actually, to be honest, like mixing every single part of this instrument was like very stressful. Like you have to like map the specific frequencies of the instrument. Also, like basically the drums will be like in these specific frequencies, the hi-hats will be in this one, like for etc 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 yada yada yada. That's way too confusing. That's way too like I'm I'm way too like I'm way too tired to like but I think this specific project, I think this way I'm too tired because you can see on the of my mixings, like all mixing effects. I'm not spending any more like long time on the mixing. I'm just like, oh, it is sounds good. Okay, I don't need to like basically to expand it the tidy up a bit on the mixing part. That's why I'm just using like some some simple effect, just like, okay, I'm just using this and this and that, and done. So yeah, I think this specific, I was just way too tired to be to be exact. So yeah, that's why this project, I think it doesn't took long. It just took yeah 30 hours to write this project. I think back in 2024. So yeah, I think that's it. That's everything of this project. Oh, it's almost 1:25, 1:30, 1 hour 35 minutes. It's it's a 1 hour to 35 minutes to explain all this. So yeah, that's everything. Do you guys any like question or something? Maybe 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 the next stream, do you want like do you want me to like explain like what project do I need to explain, or what specific genre do I need to like explore maybe? Or do you have any specific request maybe like for the next content? Maybe you guys any good recommendation? Sometimes like in the comment, like please remix like some like these songs from artists like A maybe, or artist B maybe, like can we just see like yeah, thanks man. I always cooking something like, but the last stream I think I cooked something like for my original, so that's why I'm still cooking that project, the my own original project, because I think it's time to release my own stuff like with my own vocals or something, because I need to expand my songwriting skill, because in this industry you need some training, like not training, but like experience of the songwriting. So that's why I need to learn or need to polish my songwriting skills, because I kind of like lacking like songwriting skill, like for the vocals for example. It's like i like I have very bad skills on the making a vocals melody, to be honest. But I like singing though. Like maybe let's play some stuff. Maybe the next time I probably, I don't know, probably opening some like 2 or 3, like maybe some old projects, if I has if the project's still in my PC. But sometimes like before that I'm producing on my laptop, but now I'm migrating all of my stuff to my PC. So I kind of like dub that my project still works like the way it used to. So, but I'm gonna try to like open the my old stuff maybe. Wait, let me. I think this. Let's open the strip version. Well, I don't know why I'm sleepy, bro. I'm so tired. I don't know why, but I think I should. Bro, the thing is, I should stream yesterday, but there's some kind of like some event that I need to be there, so that's why the stream got to be delayed tonight. I think I started the stream way too late in my, like in my specific time zone, because like this, for example, like this today, like right now it's 23:50. It's almost midnight. It's midnight, so that's why I kind of like tired. You could hear in my voice. I'm kind of like tired today. It's kind of like sleepy. I'm not kind of like energetic like yesterday because last stream I think I started like 9 p.m. maybe. I think it's 9 p.m. So yeah, I'm still energetic, but I'm kind of like late 1 or 2 hours. And then before today's stream, got from I just got home and then just started the stream because I remember oh yeah, today I gotta stream the house because tomorrow I cannot because there's a occasion near my my place. So and I had to be there. So there's no way I could stream because if I stream, it will be like way too late. I think I think maybe the next stream probably I got to maybe I got to make like some earlier stream probably like maybe some 7 p.m. Indonesia time, or maybe like yeah, probably 7 p.m. is probably is good time. So yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. I'm tired. I'm sleepy, guys. Sorry for being a part-time streamer. I think that's it for today. Maybe if you guys have anything, or you could uh, maybe you could like thinking something like want to ask, like some questions, you could like put on the live chat or the comments. So yeah, I think yeah. Bro, I'm just way too tired. I cannot think anything. I'm just way too tired. So you guys, see you in the next stream, and bye bye, guys. Thank you for watching, guys. See you. See you.